Okay, so here we are. We're going to be demoing the block in this video. It is one of our first assignments that we had. So let's go ahead and get started on that. This style, I'm going to do the full cutout. So we're going to draw the whole profile and then extrude it out. And so come along. All right, so the first thing that we do is we draw a sketch by clicking the sketch button in the upper corner. We're going to right click and go view normal to sketch plane. And it's going to rotate our view to where it's flat looking at the sketch plane. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is we're going to utilize the line tool. We're going to draw this out. We're going to draw up a little bit. We're going to give it that angle, draw back, and then draw vertically down. Okay. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to place this circle. I'm going to line up over the midpoints. And we're going to see a projection line coming out. And I'm just going to place a circle there, okay? So once again, I'm going to draw everything in and then come back and dimension it, okay? So here we go. So that's the block outline. We're now going to go up to our dimension button. We're going to click that full length over here. This whole height is 2. This length right here is 1.5. And something that you're going to notice is we do not have to dimension this horizontal or this length right here, angled line right here. We don't have to dimension it because we're going to be defining both endpoints based off of the heights that we give them. And so then that line will actually turn black once when this one is placed. And then we just have to apply our number right here, which I believe that size is 1. And we have the sketch of the block done. Okay. So now the next part that we got to do is we got to extrude this out. In other words, applying a 3D, giving it a depth. Okay. So I'm going to finish my sketch. I'm going to go and hit extrude. I'm going to select the outside that circle. Okay. And I'm going to rotate so I can look at this and make sure it's extruding. Okay. The distance I'm going to put in is 1.5 for the overall width or depth of it. I'm going to hit enter twice, and there's our block. To finish that off and get that turned in, I'm going to turn these off, and we're going to hit our hamburger, print. We're going to zoom in a little bit to make sure that we get that full object in there. We're going to hit download image and turn in that image. All right, the next block that we're going to be creating in here is going to be the doorstop. I'm going to actually edit my name up here. I've been putting demo for when it's a demo, just for myself. Your guys' it's not a demo. Make sure that you guys have it listed as doorstop, okay? So the same thing that we talked about before is we're going to sketch out the whole shape, then we are going to apply the dimensions, okay? It'll start snapping and adjusting and moving things around as we go, but we want to make sure that we draw the shape first and then do the dimensioning, okay? So we're going to sketch. I'm going to select my front plane again. I'm going to right click and go view normal to sketch plane. Okay. Zoom in it just a little bit. Okay. Now we're going to draw out our doorstop. So I'm just going to draw it out. There's a little bit of an up right there, a long slope back, straight to line up with our end point, line up with our origin point, and then down to our origin. Okay. Now I'm going to use the hotkey D in order to hit our dimensions, and we're going to see that happening a lot. It's just a hotkey D for dimensions. Okay. Now I'm going to put in the first height. And when I hit enter, you'll see it kind of snap a little bit, and it'll adjust the size of doorstop relative to this dimension. Okay, we saw that adjustment happen. Now we can keep going through and applying the rest of our dimensions to the measurements needed. All right, so there's the profile of our doorstop. We're going to hit our green check mark. We're going to rotate. so we get a little bit of an angle. We're going to hit our extrude, select that profile of our doorstop, and then draw it based off of our depth there, which we get from our top view. We're going to hit enter. There's our doorstop. Turn off the planes, hamburger, print. Make sure it's centered, zoom in a little bit. It's inside our barriers. Download the image and upload that image to our project. Okay, so for the first week's parts, these were the last couple here. The last one is our base support. What it is it's a platform, and then it has a little bump up to actually help center in an object into it. Okay, so and then that helps spread out our weight down below. Okay, so the same thing, we're going to go sketch, and we're actually going to select that top plane instead of our front. I'm going to right click and go normal to. And I'm going to draw out my big rectangle. Now you'll see me over here that I actually select the down arrow next to the rectangle, and I'm going to select a center point rectangle, otherwise known as a R. Okay, you can see the buttons over here next to the end. It is based off of the hotkey that you can hit in order to get that. So R, if you hit that hotkey, you'd be able to get that center point rectangle. Okay, now I'm always going to start with my click on that origin point. It gives it a nice anchor to it. I'm going to hit D for dimension. We're going to give it this horizontal dimension of 4. Once again, you'll see it snap to be a little bit bigger, and the vertical dimension right here of 2. Okay, so now I'm going to actually finish this sketch and extrude this. Now, am I done with this project yet? No, because I still got to add on that piece up on top. Okay, now the thickness of this is 0.25. Okay. Oh, I forgot to select my object. There we go. So, and you can see that I went back into that extrude by double clicking, and then I was able to select that. Okay, so anything over here, you can double click it and you'll be able to actually go back into it. Okay, now the next thing that I got to do is I got to do another sketch on top of this. Okay, how we do a sketch on top of something is, first I'm going to turn off my planes. I don't need them right now. Okay, so I turn those off. I'm going to hit sketch, and now instead of selecting the plane, I'm going to select a face on an object to draw off of. So I select that top face. I'm going to rotate. You can either rotate via the view cube in the upper right hand corner, or you can right click on the sketch and go view normal to sketch plane. Okay, I'm going to hit my circle, select that origin point dead center. You could also line up by hovering over the edges, finding those midpoints, and using those lines there too. Okay, we're going to use that D for dimension. We're going to hit that 1 and hit enter. That sets its size at 1 diameter. We're going to hit extrude. We're going to select inside that circle. We're going to extrude that up 0.25. Enter, enter. And right there's our base support. Remember, hit that hamburger, print, come down. We need to make sure that it fills up that page. So it was a little big, so we scrolled back just a hair, download that image, and turn that in. All right, so this is the last one for the first week's projects. So this is the flange. This is getting into utilizing the revolve command up there in order to shoot something around. Think like tetherball, okay? Think like that tetherball that we had where you send that around that center post, okay? So we're going to use that sketch. We're going to go actually on that front plane right there, and we're going to send that around that center point right here. So we're going to go through, turn off the other planes that I don't need. I can even turn off the front, because once when we started on that sketch, we don't really need it anymore. Okay. Now I'm going to utilize something called construction. Okay. You can see it's a button right here. You can also have it be as Q. Okay, and you'll see that it highlights right there. Okay, what that does is it creates a line that is not going to be recognized as a part of a solid object by the program, meaning that it is for construction, not permanent. Okay. I'm going to draw a vertical line right here. I'm not going to worry about that distance first. And then, because I'm going to tie it to a height later on. Okay. And then I'm going to draw this line out here, make sure it's flat. This one's also for construction. I didn't draw it flat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to that top, hit my horizontal or key H for horizontal. I'm going to click that down and it'll snap that down. Okay. I'm going to hit line by hitting L. Okay. And I'm going to draw that profile. Remember that. And I'm going to highlight this and kind of tie it to this point up there. Okay. Now the reason why I tie it to there is because I want to be able to define that height and have that line defined with it. Okay. So there's my profile of the flange. Okay. I need to go through and dimension it. So D for dimension. Okay. Now I'm looking at these lines right here. Let's see. This line right here is 2. Okay, you saw it snap down. This vertical line right here is 0.125. Okay. This horizontal line right here is 0.5. Okay. Now this vertical line right here is 0.5 also. Okay. Now you'll notice that it's still blue. Some of it's blackened out, but it's still blue for the most part. It's because we do not have a location distance from here, from that origin point to this point out here. Okay. So I'm going to define that, and that is 0.25 or 1/4 of an inch. That all looks great. I'm going to drag that and move that off to the side. I'm going to move this up, just to bring these in just a little bit. Okay. And now instead of hitting the extrusion when we finish this sketch, we'll actually hit the revolve button. Okay. So the first option that we have to select is faces and sketch regions to revolve. Okay. We select inside that first profile. Now the next part that we have to do is revolve axis, meaning that that's our center point. That's when we're playing that tetherball, it's that post in the middle. Okay. When we hit that, we see that it starts to revolve around that axial point. And because we want it full 360, we leave that as full. We can adjust that if we need to, depending on if it's a specific angle we need to have. Okay. But for right now, we want it as a full. We want to send that thing all the way around. Hit our check. And there's our flange. Go up, hit our hamburger, print, download image, and we are great once when it's inside of our box. All right.